You can't compete because when you compete, you play to the level of your competition.
Right.
When you dominate, it don't matter how good you are. I'm just gonna show up and kill you regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what we was talking
murder.
to the team. Yeah, we was talking to the team. They got to get to a place of dominating. Stop competing. Let's just start dominating.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hustle Up podcast. My name is Clint.
And I'm Jonathan.
And today we are sitting down with Mr. Deshaun Bryant,
Yes,
roof
sir.
hustler,
Thank
the
y'all
man
for having me.
himself. Dylan Peoples is in the house. We got some big energy and some major content coming from Deshaun. We brought Deshaun up last year for sales training, and we saw a massive increase in our output. This year, we brought him back, and the last 3-4 days have been growth explosion. Deshaun,
Yes, sir.
how are you, man?
I'm amazing, man. God is good. Just super grateful because we blessed in the sense that we went through a crazy time last year, and our industry thrived. You know, nothing slowed down. Everybody was eating. I didn't see nobody in our industry lose their jobs. And I think last year opened a lot of people's eyes to what is job security. But like now I know for a fact, like I got job security, you know. So it's really, you know,
Big
eye-opening.
facts.
Yeah, so I'm grateful, man. Blessed. Life has been treating me better than I deserve, man. And the momentum is crazy. So
Let's go.
That's cool.
Recession proof.
Yeah, there you go.
amen.
There you go.
So tell us a little bit about the last 6 months. How have you grown? How have you changed? What's new?
Oh, man, the last 6 months has been awesome. So the biggest thing I've been doing, honestly, that might be surprising some people, but therapy has been huge. I go to therapy every other week.
Let's go.
And that's been awesome. Just continuing to learn more about myself, tap into this guy. And I've been studying more of me than anything and just reading, you know what I mean, attending my conferences, you know, studying the information. But I've been big, we kind of talked about it earlier, been big on the DISC assessment, like been falling in love with that. And learning.
Explain that real quick for people
So,
who don't know.
For people who don't know, the DISC assessment is a profile test, pretty much, and it's the D, the I, the S, the C. The D stands for like decision making. The I stands for like interacting with people. S stands for like sustainability, you know, steadiness, and the C stands for like detailed consciousness. So you take the test, and it kind of give you a gauge of who you are number wise, and you know, I got my numbers back, and it kind of opened up my eyes to more about who I am. So I've been studying that like huge. I had a coach that coached me 8 weeks on how to like maximize my personality and, you know, really take it to the next level. So within the roofing industry, I feel like most of the guys that's training and stuff in the door-to-door industry and all that stuff, they're so focused on skills and tactics. I want to be that one guy that focuses on people, that really build and mold and show people how to be better versions of themselves, and that'll improve their sales and stuff like that. So I've been studying the DISC assessment heavy. I want to get to a point to where I get certified in it. So then when I do go to other roofing companies and train, I'm allowed to bring tests for all the guys, and we really get like deep diving on it, man, so we can really pull out the best of these people.
So who are you? And I've taken a DISC assessment as well. Who are you according to DISC?
So I'm a 67D, 67I, and a 77S. So I took it with Eric Thomas. It's the flight assessment test. So technically, based on my highest number, I'm grounds crew. I'm a grounds crew guy. But I got the ability to shift between my D and my I at any given time. So I can be a D and make decisions and execute. I could be an I, get in front of people and, you know, work the crowd. But then I got that S to where I'm steady and I could do something for a long time and, you know, not get distracted and just stay focused on it. And then my C is like the details. I'm like a 23. So, yeah.
But what does that tell you? What do those numbers tell you? Like if you're a 23 on the C, like how do you interpret that and build on that?
So for me personally, it shows me that naturally, I'm not a person that pay attention to details. Like just my natural self. Like I'm such a big picture thinker, I'm going to miss certain things. So I know for a fact, for me personally, I need structures and procedures and process. I need automated things around me that makes my details already taken care of. Because if I got to consciously do them, it's going to slow me down. Because, you know what I mean? I would rather be doing the important things. So I got to keep systems around me. That's why I love CRMs. You know, that's why I love CPAs. Like I love all those people that work the numbers. So I keep the systems around me. So I just got to do the big picture stuff and they handle the detail stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. supplement for where you're weak.
Supplement, exactly. Yep. Just like we do the roofs.
Yeah. So in the last year, you've come out with the $1 Million Hustler program, yeah?
Yep. Came out with a $1 Million Hustle program, and that was a game changer.
What is it?
So the $1 Million Hustle program is a 5-week online course where we teach people how to be more efficient and effective in the field, teach them how to speak in the homeowner's buyer's language, and teach them how to maximize their time to where they knock less doors and close more deals.
You said speaking the homeowner's what?
Buyer's language.
Buyer's language. What does that mean?
So every person got a buyer's language, so kind of like the DISC assessment. That's why I've been studying so heavy. So every person possesses those qualities and traits. So within our industry, I kind of made it unique. So you got the bulldog, you got the golden retriever, and you got the owl. So when you're speaking to an owl, that's a super detailed person. So naturally, I'm such a big picture person, I would turn that person off. Because I'm not covering the little stuff that matter, naturally. Right. So I teach guys to identify who we talking to and then speak to them in their language. And then you speak to them in their language, and then you bring them over to your world.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cover all the details first to get you bought in, and then we're going to go big picture.
Based on your audience.
Based on,
yeah. I just put Post-it notes of affirmations on my home screen, and one of them is like my meeting preparation affirmations, and it's 2 questions. One of them is, what is the purpose of this meeting? And the second one is, who is the audience of this meeting?
Amen.
Yeah, and that way you go in there with like you're saying, the ability to cater what you're saying based on their archetype or personality.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
I learned that because my first year when we was doing this, I used to just speak to everybody. I treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even your kids, as you study this, man, certain kids got certain traits, certain qualities. So, my son, a very emotional boy, so I can't speak to him in my high D. It make him,
He won't listen.
He won't listen.
Yeah.
So I got to go to him in my high I, like, hey, how you doing? Have fun with him, da-da-da-da-da. And then we get him to open up. My daughter, man, I can be straight like hard nose with her, bro. She all about it.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle said something about raising kids, which I imagine could translate, but I'd love your opinion. It's that you don't want to create a rule book. You want to create a guideline. Like, this is what I did. This is what happened from that, as opposed to, no, don't do this.
100.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. It's funny you say. I literally just read that in the book called The Originals.
Okay.
And they say you don't want to give kids rules. You want to give them morals and then values.
Yeah,
and then you speak to them in identities. So, like, you say, hey, come help me clean the kitchen because you're a helper.
Right.
Like,
right.
You're a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a helpful person. So, yeah, that's why I want you to come help me clean the kitchen.
Whereas if you make cleaning the kitchen
a chore
or a chore, yeah, it's like, well, do I get allowance for this? It's, very incentive-based. And that's interesting. So the $1 Million program helps you identify your strengths and weaknesses and help you supplement by team leading and management or sales?
It's mainly based. So that's the next program we're working on too.
Okay.
We're working on our 4-week mentorship program.
Okay.
Yeah, that's coming together.
Yeah,
but
sounds fire.
we the $1 Million Hustle program for the heartbeat of the company, which is the sales guys. We just want to help them be more efficient and effective in the field. We want to give them the proper tools to execute out there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Well,
good.
You've got 3 types of potential homeowners, buyers. You've got the owl, the golden retriever, and the bulldog.
Yep.
What are those? What do they mean?
Good question.
So the bulldog is the high D. So for example, Hesson, that's that guy that come out and he like, what you want? What you doing? That's that guy. The thing about those people, to get them what they want, they need results in the time frame that you're going to get it for them.
That's the pilot of the airplane.
100%. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the pilot.
Okay.
Like, where we going? How fast can you get me there?
Yeah.
So with those homeowners, you can't go into details or you're going to discredit yourself. So you just got to be straight to the point with them. Then you got the golden retriever. Those people that just love to talk, love to have fun. Like, that's that friend you taking places and he talking to everybody. And you like, bro, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. And he like still talking to people and like you trying to drag them on. So that's that homeowner that they're very emotional. Because high eyes are very emotional. We always in our feelings about things. So with those homeowners, you got to get them off the feelings and get them to logic. Get them to where it makes sense. Like, hey, if this happens, we going to do this. Makes sense, right? Yeah, okay, and then you take action. Because they so emotional, they just say yes, no. Like, they just say yes to everything because they're very emotional. Like, high eyes are people pleasers.
Right.
Those people that when their friends need help, they're like, yeah, I got you. And then they beating themselves up because they say yes to that.
Got
when
you.
they know they should have been doing something else. So you got to be really stern with the high eyes. And you got the owls, man. They just want the details. They just want to, and you got to reassure their intent so they're not being nagging. They just want information because that's how they learn. Like my kid's mom, like I can't never get an answer out of her that day. I got to give her the answer, let her think about it, and then we talk about it 2 days later because it got a process. And that's how owls are at the door as well.
So can you give an example of how a pitch or a proposition or whatever the terminology you guys use is different based on those different archetypes?
So let's say we got a bulldog at the door. Mm-hmm. He come to the door instead of going through a process script like, hey, how you doing today?
And a bulldog is the big picture.
Big picture guy. Yeah. So, instead of saying, hey, how you doing? We in the neighborhood doing this, da-da-da-da-da. He come to the door, he going to say what you want, and we going straight to the point. Hey, man, we've been out here helping people get brand new roofs. We get the insurance company to pay for it. Mm-hmm. You had somebody here to check out a roof lately? Straight to the point. Yeah. Big picture. Let him make a decision on the front end, and then we can slow it down. With the owl, we can be very detailed with them. Go through every step of the script because that's what they want to hear. Okay. And then you could take your time with them. And then the golden retriever, they the same way, but they say yes fast. Okay. So you be like, yeah, we ought to do it for inspection. Yeah, go ahead and check it out, man. Like they don't even let you get through it. They just say yes because they're so emotional. But with them, you got to bring it back and really slow it down and make sure they understand it. So you can't be emotionally immature and let that yes get you too excited. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's super important.
Does those archetypes matter when you're battling objections?
I think it do and it don't. I think because with some of them, owl objections will never be as intense as like a bulldog objections.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like an owl objection is gonna be more like how long you been in business.
Okay. You know Whereas a bulldog objection could be,
man, my roof ain't got no damage.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the golden retriever here is gonna be more like, man, well, I need to think about it. Well, man, I don't.
More passive.
It's more emotional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's feelings, how he feeling. But that owl is very facts. How long you been in business? Are you rated on the Better Business Bureau? So their objections is a little bit different than, like a bulldog objection.
Yeah.
His gonna be like really trying to shoo you away.
Yeah.
That's what he mainly.
It's kind of like the golden retriever is like a green light, the owl's like a yellow light, and the bulldog's a red light.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Dude, what drives you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a great question. What really drives me is, so when I first got in the industry, it was about selling $1 million every year. I want to sell $1 million. I want to sell $1 million. I want to sell $1 million. Now I'm to the point now to it's like I want to help hundreds of other people sell $1 million.
Yeah.
So what's really driving me is the ability to help other people get better, help other people get new perspective, new information that can just change their situation, give them a couple tweaks that can, really explode their game and just help them make money, man. So that's really what's been driving me, the ability to help other people maximize their potential.
At what point did you feel like you stepped into a new level of savagery in this industry?
Oh, man. I think it was probably like year 2.5, maybe year 2.5.
How do you define that? Yeah.
A book called Pitch Anything would change my whole world.
Fucking right. I love that book, bro.
Changed my whole world.
Yeah. Yeah, you should read his second book, Flip the Script.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't know he had a second book.
Bro, so if Pitch Anything was like the concepts, Flip the Script is like real world examples and how he implements those concepts. Mm. Like, this is the business meeting I went in and this is how I implemented this and this was the result that came from it.
I'm definitely going to buy that.
Bro, what?
That book changed my... That's what really helped me, like, go savagery in the industry.
I told Dylan about that book.
Pitch Anything?
Yeah.
Oh, Flip the Script? I got to watch it.
Got to, bro.
I got to read it.
Yeah.
But when I learned how to outframe people, that's when the game changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew how to go to a door, and when a dog barking at the door, and I used to get me fluttered, now I say, hey, you don't mind stepping out, do you?
Yeah.
Can you step out for a second?
Yeah.
Like, when I learned that whoever was moving for the other person was being outframed, I learned how to make people move.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, the frame is the social structure of the meeting. So when you walk into a doctor's office and you walk up to the desk and they say, take a seat, the doctor will be with you, you're automatically getting framed into a doctor-patient scenario.
Yeah, a beta trap.
Yeah, and when you're walking into a meeting, that's why you'll walk into a meeting and you'll meet with the secretary. Even if the person's available to meet right now, you'll meet with the secretary and they'll tell you to have a seat. So then the other person comes and gets you for the meeting and automatically puts you in the frame of a doctor and patient instead of two equals about to discuss something.
Exactly.
And it's all subconscious framing. You want to be able to to like Jordan Peterson says, walk the line of the familiar and the unfamiliar.
Order and chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we talk about that a lot on the podcast, and this is what it is. Like they try to put you in their order, which could create chaos for your results.
And homeowners do that all the time.
Of course, yeah.
Don't you think so? Like, you ever went to somebody's house and they try to tell you what to do, when to do it, how to move? Yeah.
They tried to lead you through your own process.
Through your own process. Yeah.
Trust in me. I know what I'm doing. I'm the professional.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's what really made it. That's what changed the game.
How do you remind somebody that you are the professional and guide them through that process when they're giving you resistance?
Reframe it.
Oh man. So the way I remind them is I don't ask them nothing. I tell them what to do. And I tell them when to do it. And this is what we gonna do. You know, so I done had times where
take charge.
You know what I mean? I take control of the situation. So I done had situations where I'm in the house and we filing the claim sometimes, and the homeowner be like, okay, so what is the adjuster gonna do? I said, we ain't get there yet. I tell you when we get to that next step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is my process. Like I tell most sales guys, once you file a claim, this is no longer your homeowner's claim. This is your claim. This is your process.
Yeah.
Like, this is mine now. I'm going to take this over, and if I need you, I'll let you know. But if not, I got this.
Yeah.
Gotta go pro.
So I'm going. Yeah, you know what I mean. Got to go pro. So I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to take care of the whole process, and then when I do need them, I'm going to tell them what I want them to do.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to tell them to go do it.
Actually, one of the things I just read, or not just read, but that was in Flip the Script, is when you're selling something, consistency and character. A lot of people come up and they're the nice guy at first, then they're the informational guy, then they're the rebuttal guy, and then they're the ask for the close guy. And each of those people is like a different character.
Yep.
And if you don't maintain that consistency of character to hold on, you don't get excited at the beginning, or you don't get overly informational. You know, sir, wait for me to get to that part. Or, sir, do you have any questions now, as opposed to going through your full pitch? That consistency in character is very, very important. So I just want to note that, since you said that, that's part of how you deal with that reframing, is you don't play into any of those different sales guy characters. You are you telling them, you know, educating about your product.
What's authentic, right?
Yeah,
right,
You don't
exactly.
have to switch between them.
Yeah, I think that's huge, being your authentic self.
Yeah.
Man, I got to go read that. I didn't know he had a second book.
Bro, it's crazy, bro.
Man, that was the first book I was addicted to. Like, I couldn't put it down. Like,
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I read it.
When he said he was mixing neuroscience and communication in a book, because that's what that book is. Like, he hired a team of neuroscientists, and he was already getting paid millions for pitching different businesses and stuff. It was like
when I learned
have to
about
read this.
that we deal with the croc brain when people come to the door.
Yeah.
Changed the whole game for me.
Yep. You should read Zig Ziglar, The Art of. No, I don't know what it's called. I'll recommend it. I'll put it in the link or something. But it also talks about that, and it's a message that's very important. I want to hear from you, like when you're walking up to a door, because I know you're slick. Like that's
my boy's smooth.
Yeah.
Super.
How do you deal with objections? Like if someone's not wanting to open up their door, do you just move on, or
9 times out of 10, it's all just smoke. No, they're saying no indirectly. It's all smoke. Now if they're just like, no, I'm not interested. They're not your customer. But usually, like, oh, I got to talk to the spouse. That's just BS. You just gotta get past
Go
all
away.
that. Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
Get 5 no's. Get 5
Amen.
no's before you leave. You know, well, like for instance, if they're like, hey, my spouse, I usually don't do anything without talking to my spouse first. I would just say, hey, look, you know, let me even see if it's worth having that conversation with your spouse. Let me get some pictures. Let me see what we're working with before we even get started. So
We don't know that there is damage.
yeah, we kind of just, again, we have an answer to every single rebuttal that they have, but we just don't take no for an answer.
So when do you have that answer? Is that in your training manual, or like how do you have pre-scripted objections?
Well, yeah, after a while, you're going to say the same thing over and over and over to the it's just like if you've served a table before, you find yourself saying the same things over and over to each and every table that you have. It's the same thing.
It's different states, same objections.
Repetition breeds excellence. And
I've
you're
been
going to
to
encounter
Texas.
the same objection over and over and over. It is all a smokescreen for I don't trust you yet. You haven't made me like you enough yet.
Right. Yeah.
And then, like you said, once I read Pitch Anything, I know that when they come to the door, it's, am I in danger? Is this an emergency? And how fast can I get them out my face? And the three, that's the thought process. So they're just going to throw some BS at me. And you either take the bait or you just bypass it.
How does, for you guys, and all three of you knock, you got to play all parts of the company. So I respect that you guys are still knocking and, you're doing a bunch of things. And how do you deal with like the mentality of that high volume of rejections with the caveat of this plus operating and leading the business?
It's a sport, man.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I played baseball. You fail more than you succeed, and you're still good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. You're going to get 100 no's, but that one yes it outweighs all those.
Those no's do not phase anymore. I mean, you can have people yell at you. We do.
You got to have thick skin, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got to have thick skin or develop
able to
thick
shake it
skin. But we have people yell at us all the time. There's no discouragement. And I'll give you an example. When we were in Utah for the last ski trip, this was the first time I remember this happening to me. A customer called me up on the last day of the ski trip. My pipeline was running dry. I'd been on vacation. And they said, hey, you left a card a year and a half ago. And I'm ready now. What's up? I booked the appointment, filed the claim, got the roof bought, all off of planting that seed. You have to trust in the process and go get those reps, leave that information, build that relationship with the homeowner, the potential client. This is a relationship building business, and door-to-door marketing is one of the most effective tools because you have that facial interaction. You get to know your homeowner. You get to be friends with them and add value to their life. Flipping it from, hey, I'm trying to sell you something, to here is why your life is infinitely better because I showed up on your doorstep today. I'm special. You're special. And together we're going to do something special. You create a powerful moment that they're going to remember. You're not a sales guy. You're that impressive young man that gave them an extra energy, that inspired them, that woke them up out of whatever dreamy sleep. And maybe not, but out of whatever state that they're in, you're calling out. And what did you call that? You called them a challenger, right?
Yeah, it's called the Challenger Salesman, which I got it from a book called The Challenger. It's called The Challenger Sales. But
it's a great segue. What are these guys? There's a few different types of salesmen.
I don't know all of them exact. I ain't study it too deep, but you got the lone wolf, you got the relationship builder, you got the problem solver. I think you got the reaction problem solver, and then you got the challenger. And this was right during the 2008, the market fell. Mm-hmm. Like nobody could sell nothing. Mm-hmm. And the relationship builders, which everybody think is like the number one salesman, was actually not selling nothing. And the guy that was selling the most was the challenger sales. And it's because he teach, tailor, and he take control. We always got to teach somebody something. We tailor to the person that we're talking to, and then we take control of that process. Yeah. And that's the person that actually sell more deals. And I was a high relationship guy. And this was before I read this book. I switched to a challenger just unconsciously. And then when I read the book, I'm like, wow, that make a lot of sense. Wow, I've been thriving because the relationship builder, he try to get in people's comfort zone. Yeah. The challenger get people out their comfort zone.
It's a call to action.
Yeah. So what calls to action, or what parts about yourself did you change to go to the challenger?
So, for example, it's like one of my principles. So, I would knock on somebody's door, and they would come to the door, and they would say, you know what, I'm busy. Mm-hmm. And the relationship guy in me was like, I'm sorry, I caught you at the wrong time. What's a good time I can come back? Because I want to be nice to them. I want them to like me. Then when I flipped it, they come to the door and they say, you know what, I'm busy. I say, you know what, that makes two of us. You the homeowner here?
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like,
I like
what's
that.
Up? You know what I mean? Or, I got to a point to sometimes where I would just stop trying to pitch people. And I'd just be like, man, let's just be real, bro. What's stopping you from taking advantage of this great opportunity? Like, why you really don't want to get your roof fixed? Instead of trying to use tactics and stuff, like, I just get rid of it. Like, I'm just going to ask you a really challenging question and make you make a decision. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to say, you know what, how about this? Give me your number. I'll follow up with you some day. Nah, let's challenge it now. Yeah. Like, so it was just, I got tired of honestly being like led astray. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just got tired of chasing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so
Should lead the energy, don't follow it.
exactly.
Yeah, I
And
feel that.
I used to try to, adapt to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they was quiet, I would be quiet and all this stuff like that. And I just learned like, no, I just got to sustain my energy and raise them up.
Well, that's what they talk about in the book Relentless by Tim Grover, is that Michael Jordan never watched game tape. People watch Michael Jordan's game tape.
Exactly.
And it's like just
Even with his team, he never lowered his level of playing. He made them raise their level.
Yeah.
Come up to us now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But that's a dominating mindset, which we was talking about it this weekend. Like you can't compete because when you compete, you play to the level of your competition.
Right.
When you dominate, it don't matter how good you are. I'm just gonna show up and kill you regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what we was talking
murder.
to the team. Yeah, we was talking to the team. They got to get to a place of dominating. Stop competing. Let's just start dominating.
So how do you do that? How do you get your team to a cumulative mindset of dominate and not compete?
Man, it's me personally. I think repetition. I think it got to be like drilled into their head.
What's getting drilled? How are you drilling?
Just constantly reiterating whatever it may be. So if that even may be like we doing role playing consistently.
Yeah.
And drilling those skills. Like one thing about Michael Jordan, people don't know, he started every practice with passing. That's the basics. He never
Fundamentals.
Yeah, he never bypassed the basics.
Yeah.
Same thing with famous coach. What's his name was James Wooden. I think that's his name. UCLA coach, whatever it may be. He started every practice the same way, passing the ball, making everybody tie their shoes. So just reiterating the basics, and you start to establish the foundation. But most people can't dominate without a foundation.
I bet a big piece of that domination like mindset comes from what you were saying, repetition.
Repetition, yeah.
Persistence and
breeds
practice. Like
Consistency.
Yeah, I said this in the last podcast too, but Kobe Bryant has a quote that his confidence comes from preparation.
100%.
And it's like you can have that domination mindset if you know what the fuck you're doing. Whereas if it's that competition mindset, it's like, oh, I got to get better at this part because that person's better at that part.
Even Coach Burt says it that confidence is what it is. Success. Confidence is the memory of success.
Confidence is the memory of success.
And
Something
luck is
like
the
that.
residue of design. Yeah.
What is it? What'd you say?
And luck is the residue of design.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you
Like
remember,
that.
when you can consistently remember the wins, the success, that confidence high.
Yeah.
Like I can step into $1 million neighborhood, middle class, local. It don't matter because I done been in every neighborhood and I done won.
Yeah.
So that's all I think about when I go into neighborhoods, like all the wins that I had. I never think about all the tough times.
That's what makes the UFC so dope is there's such high stakes because someone could be undefeated in their whole career and have that dominating mindset, catch one kick to the face, and like their whole shit is done. But you like that. But that's what makes it cool. And there's not like volume. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys have to deal with this 10 times a day. A UFC fighter is doing like what, one fight every.
But it's funny you say that because there's a guy that's on their team, he'll fight him.
Okay.
And I said, you know what, man? Knocking doors is just like a UFC fight. He was like, what you mean? I say, you can go a whole day and get your ass whooped. You just get one good punch and you knock them out, and that's just that one roof you needed all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you just got to tough it out through the fight. Because in the UFC fight, you just can't quit. You just can't be like, hey, I'm done, bro. I'm finna get up out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to keep fighting. And some guys get lucky. They get a duck, and they get one swing, and boom, the whole fight then flipped. And that's all it takes sometimes in the neighborhood, just that one door.
But
and flip the
that
whole
one
day.
kick that could get you that win comes from days and days and weeks and months of repetitive practice.
That too, and not
It's
giving
not
up.
just a lucky,
There are belt
strike.
degrees for sales, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like to think that we're training sales black belts.
Ninjas.
And ninjas, exactly.
That's cool. I like that.
Sales ninjas and roof ninjas. Let's go.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So what have you guys, so we had you on the podcast a year ago. We'll probably put the episodes out like almost simultaneously.
Yep.
How has y'all's business changed in the last year from working with Deshaun? And then we'll leave it at that question for now.
Yeah, so we more than doubled our monthly output after working with Deshaun. We talk about this regularly. Even Olympic athletes have coaches. We brought Deshaun in to pump up the team, and it increased output significantly. We're still growing exponentially, but that's a major value add even for his pitch to prospective companies. I've been telling all my other friends in roofing, shoot, we're talking about putting on a big event, bringing him in to do sales training, bringing in other roofing companies, getting a widespread class out of this because we see so much value out of it.
And what's your perspective?
Yeah, sales, the hoorah on the team. Everybody's just motivated, pumped up. And for instance, one day, one of the guys, his name's Jarrell. Shout out Jarrell. But
Poppy Chew.
Yeah, Poppy Chew. He told after his one-on-one with Deshaun today, he told me he was enlightened. He said he felt like he just
Let's
got
go.
baptized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he have a reason for what that piece?
He
had
just
changed?
said he was fired up. I didn't get into too many details. He was
They
headed out.
literally went out there and closed the deal.
But, yep, literally, right then.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's you can see it in the guy's eyes.
There's a
whenever Deshaun
light
comes.
bulb that turns on. A switch flips, something clicks. And we say it all the time. It's not necessarily easy, but it is simple.
100%.
And once you get those fundamentals, once you get those basics mastered, look at the number of billionaires that started out from the Xerox sales training program. Fucking ridiculous, knocking door to door. Door-to-door sales has produced Jordan Belfort, Sarah Blakely. God, who's the other one? I mean,
I think Uncle G's go door to door too.
yeah, Grant Cardone. There's so many of them because you get that experience overcoming rejection,
In a
fear of
high
public
volume.
speaking,
In a high
high
volume.
volume. You get those test runs over and over and over. And cold calling does this too. I think getting those repetitions. And what's the book by Jeb Blunt that
Overcoming Objections.
It's we'll find it. He talks about the discipline required. The guys who were successful on his team would have 2 jars, and every day they'd have like marbles, and they would every call they'd make, they'd pick a marble out of one jar and put it into the empty jar. And it was that discipline and repetition and forcing yourself to get in the reps. The guys that made the calls, the guys that knock the doors, the guys that get out there and get told no and then write down what objections they're encountering. How would I think about that differently next time? How could I inject humor into this situation or some type of charisma or pull from my environment? Oh, they have a Mississippi flag on their door. Let's talk about the game.
Right.
It's that incorporating those, and it's even like freestyling, right? You start engaging with the environment and pulling into a flow state of sorts.
100%.
Yeah. There's the Flip the Script book is another example I'm about to use, and he talks about something, I can't remember the terminology for it, but it's what you said. You find something that's not business related that can mutually put you guys on the same plane. Like
Find
if
that
you've
common
got
ground.
if you've got a car and I'm a car guy, I'm gonna go talk to you about that car first, get you thinking, oh shit, this guy knows his stuff about cars. I feel that. And then you have something called like a rollout, which is a brief, very high level industry jargon filled thing, or filled, I don't want to say thing, but filled monologue that's very short and concise. That gets this person to be like, okay, I like them because they knew what they were talking about cars. And now they're relating to me and my problem I need solved. And they're also using words that help me view them as an expert. And so I feel more comfortable about learning and taking their advisement. And it's how to position that step by step to create that interpersonal connection and then gain their trust as an expert in your subject.
No, I like that. I try to teach sales guys be interested in everything, because a lot of guys be like, man, I don't watch football. I'm like, bro, you don't watch football for you.
The first thing you said when you said be interested in everything was, I don't like sports that much.
Bro, that's
and
what
then you
everybody
said
say.
the football thing.
People
I
say that.
know.
I don't like football. I'm like, you
thought
don't watch
that
it
before.
for you.
Yeah.
You watch it for everybody
Conversation.
else. I tell everybody, when it comes to like building connections and common ground people, you want to be a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah.
So know a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your expertise, you want to be an inch wide and a mile deep. Be able to go super deep about your topic, your roof and all that stuff. But general information, be a mile wide, but an inch deep, just enough to start a conversation and then throw it to the homeowner.
Yeah.
And get them to tell you about everything that they're interested in. And you just be like, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. And then you build that connection and then you transition. Yeah.
Well, another upside about that not even in just relation to door knocking, is the more you know and the more you can converse with different people, the more opportunity you have to connect people.
I remember one time I was knocking on the door and a lady came out the house in scrubs. And I'm like, well, what do you do? She's like, I work at Moffitt Cancer Center. So in Florida, it's like a high cancer place where they heal cancer with all natural remedies.
Awesome.
So I'm like, oh, man, have you ever heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton? Because I read a book called The Biology of Belief. And she's like, what? I love Dr. Bruce Lipton. And we built the connection due to the information. And I ended up closing that deal, but only because I'm a firm believer because I knew about
Bruce Lipton.
Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I read so much. I don't watch a bunch of TV. I watch TV at nighttime, but that's why I read and pay attention to so many things just to be able to connect with people.
Yeah, I mean everyone's different. Like last night, I was trying to talk entrepreneurial to someone, and they weren't understanding it because they're not.
He wasn't having it, dude.
No,
he was not having it at all.
No, but he has the ability to do it. He just doesn't understand it, and it comes back to we sit on the board of a nonprofit that helps bring mindset tools to inner city youth in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and one of the things
can you donate to that? Like
they're getting once the 501c3 is finished, it's because it's new.
Well, we have raised money for them twice.
Yeah.
So we raise sponsorship every year, and then we also donate our time.
Next time y'all do something, let me know, please.
Absolutely, yeah. And the director of it is her name's Apprentice. Shout out Apprentice. And she said that she went to a Clayton County school, which is like inner city Atlanta, and that they asked the kids, if you could have or go or be anything in the world, what would it be? Where would you go? What would you do? And one of the kids was like, I want all the candy from the corner store. And
that's how big his world was.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what can truly be attained or what you truly can accomplish, you're not smart for not thinking big. You just don't know how big you can really think. And I think that's part of the.
That was something that Dawson also said when he was here. I'm 21 years young. I don't know what I don't know yet.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Having that ability to be aware of that is, why you should have that, what'd you say, 1 mile long, inch deep, and then the vice versa. You still have to have that 10,000 hours in. So what do you have your 10,000 hours in?
Well, it's definitely knocking doors.
You think you put 10,000 hours in there?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Wow.
I go 6 days a week.
7?
6 years. Yeah, I used to go 6 days a week, 4 hours a day.
Wow.
Every day I was out there every day.
Is there no shortage of houses?
No.
Well, the thing about it, you never get everybody. So you go back to the same neighborhood sometimes and you keep knocking.
And then roofs are getting older and older too. So
it's always
roof
changing.
is not good now. It
That
might
change
be good in
out
30
every
years.
20
True,
30
true.
years.
Yeah.
We get a new market every year.
Wow. That's crazy. So what's next for you? How are you looking to, let's say, expand your market opportunity?
Oh, man, so Dylan asked me that last night, but it's so loud. I was like, I'll tell you tomorrow, bro.
But here we are.
The long-term goal is, you said it earlier, I want to create licensing. So I want to get the training so turnkey that we license it. So when other sales guys or other people that's like inspired, they're like, man, I want to do what you do, but I don't got content. Cool. Pay me this fee. I'll license you, and I'll properly equip you, and I'll send you around the nation, and I'll have you go around do what I do roof hustlers training. And then they'll pay me a fee every year to the state license, like John C. Maxwell do it. That's the big vision. Like, we want to create a big sales force because I'm only one person. So after me, the message stopped.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't come and see you, so we want to keep the message going. Then, of course, we want to do, I want to do it where I got roofing companies sign up, and we meet up 4 times a year. We're going to call it the Hustler's Corner, and we're going to go to, like, certain different places, and we're going to mastermind and, like, get with other high-level thinkers and continue to elevate each other's business. I'm coming up with a 2-day event called The Way of the Hustler, where it's not going to even be roofing-based. It's going to be about anybody with a hustle, anybody with a grind, anybody with some type of, like, tenacity to go get something, and we're going to get a bunch of people in a group of place, and we're going to teach people just how to level up their thinking process and just go get it. Go after what it is that you want.
Yeah.
But that's going to be called The Way of the Hustler. And we're working on the online platform and just staying consistent, man. Right now, this was the 6th company I've trained this year, and we're in April. I think last year when I came to them, it was like maybe my 4th company.
Wow.
5th company, yeah. And that was in July.
We found him early on.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. That's awesome.
We're growing like crazy, man. God is good. We done increased the price, added more value, so we just trying to stay consistent. We got more gear dropping. You know what I mean? I got a shirt that I'm about to put called Inked Up.
Inked Up?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's when you sign a
Sign deals.
contract.
Yeah,
you
let's
know what
go.
I mean? So I got some stuff that I'm coming
I
up
like
with,
that.
man.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. What do you got? What was so when y'all brought him in this time around? Where did you guys see places that you could improve? That you didn't know before. Does that make sense?
Areas for us to improve?
Areas for y'all to improve that Deshaun pointed out, or even you could answer this question if you guys wanted to go there. I just think it's cool because how often do you get a company bringing in a consultant, and then after that consulting gig is through, you get to sit down and have a postmortem on a podcast?
Exactly. So I do want to. I tell everybody I'm not a consultant. I'm a coach and a trainer.
Okay.
Because a consultant comes in and really changes your business. I say I'm a coach. I call the play. It's up to you to run it.
Okay. So what things did you see, or what things did you guys identify?
The biggest takeaway was a sales manager position. Dylan and I, you kind of touched on this earlier. As we scale and grow the business, we're flying out to Austin, Texas on Tuesday. We're growing up Chattanooga. We're handing over some of the control of Atlanta to the guys that have really stepped up and led. Shout out Chris Reese, shout out Will. Having a sales manager come in and give these guys a plan and a strategy, lead team meetings, inspire, that's a big one. That's a big one for us. And it's something we know and we're looking for, but doubling down on that as we continue to grow.
Yeah, doubling down even on some of our systems and making them a little bit more dependable, I guess. That way certain people aren't treated
What's an example?
better,
Give an
especially.
example. Give an example of that.
For instance, like maybe for me, I won't do my pre-co because I don't, I'm the owner. And
What is pre-co?
It's a pre-construction, kind of in reality diverting a lot of liability and making sure that we're not responsible for like the patio furniture and things around the build. But
And I do the same thing.
But now our systems are in place to where I don't even get that treatment, because if I don't have that, Carlos is not approving my job. The systems are in place, and even I can't be treated special. So certain people, just making sure certain people aren't getting special treatment and making sure it's fair all the way around.
Yeah.
And our systems are how we can kind of implement that.
And this is big. We're creating a system-dependent business because once those systems are implemented, he and I can fly out anywhere in the country and grassroots a second, third, fourth location. And it's not like starting from scratch. We're starting with a huge advantage, a
It'd be
huge
turnkey.
leg up.
A rinse and repeat.
It's nail
and
it,
paste.
then scale it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure y'all done heard it. It's the E-myth. Like you got to spend more time working on it than in it.
Right.
And that's that next phase that y'all going to.
That's a hard thing, especially as companies scale,
It's so
because
hard, bro.
you get caught up so much on the day-to-day and staying on top of it in the present that you lose the resources and time for forward thinking.
And it's your baby, so you love it so much. Like, you don't want nobody else to, put their hands on it or mess it up, but you got to.
That's the idea of replicating yourself in others. When you know your company's values, when you know your mission, your core, who you are as a company, you can replicate those values and that mission in other people. You're never going to have another Deshaun. You're never going to have another Dylan Peoples. I like we were talking about this the other night, the aspect of unique individuals in our network, in our company, in our partnerships. And when you have alignment between the customer, the business, and between the customer, the business, and the team, you create a powerful synergy that replicating yourself, it goes back to scale. I don't think you can scale unless you replicate yourself, your values, your ethic, your drive. You have to promote that type of energy.
And getting the right people on the bus.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important part. I mean, I don't know where on the disc it is, but my skill set is team building.
That's
so,
the S.
Yeah, okay, that's the S. So when I'm looking at something, like my end goal is how quickly can I maximize my holding in the company but automate myself out. Like that's the goal, is I want to build something up and slowly and surely just automate myself out of each thing, start the next thing, but also make sure that the right people in place are taking it to where it needs to go. And you got to have I think that's a quality of a leader is being able to know when to, let someone else kind of take the driver's wheel. Even if it's not a permanent thing, like I'm not saying hand the reins over to someone to run your company, but if you have a sales guy, a leader, like let him show that you guys got to give him respect. Not that you don't, you know what I'm saying, but like build that respect around him, like, because the culture and the way people are treated starts at the top.
100%. Everything rise and fall on leadership.
Exactly. And so if you're not putting the right people in place, and then you're not respecting them, like, we used to see this back in our fraternity days a lot, like the people in power, like if people would start talking shit about them or something like that, like it didn't show unity and it didn't show, authority, but those people are in power not to be like authoritative figures that are like, you know what I'm saying? But to lead you in places where they have competency that you don't equal as much in. Mm-hmm. And you gotta maintain a culture of like respect. Agreed. For that. 100%. Does that mean, I feel like I rambled a bit, but
no, it makes sense.
It ties back to this idea of creative destruction. Every time you innovate and you create in the new market, you're destroying or killing whatever was that last wave. You're forcing the competition to level up and maintain at least some competitive advantage or die or get phased out. And then while they're busy catching up, you're innovating again for the next phase, Yeah. That's how you keep that drive, that leader of the pack, tip of the spear energy.
Well, when our investors ask us, how do we protect our technology? What we say is like patents are like an alarm system in your house. It'll go off, but if someone wants to break in your house, that's not going to stop them. The only true way to build a moat around your company is consistent innovation. File more patents, lead the way in technological inventions and innovation, and just keep building that culture, building whatever it is to, even if you made, that you just don't stop. Like if the innovation never stops, or that forward thinking, or what'd you say, working on, not in? Mm-hmm. Like if you can continuously do that and automate the working in part, and you as the business leaders focus on the working on part, I mean, there's no question about longevity.
That's awesome. I'm glad you keep emphasizing leaders, because a lot of people, I can't stand the word managers.
What's the difference?
Well, you can only manage systems. You lead people. And people love to say, hey, you're my sales managers. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But they just you only can manage the systems. As good as the systems is, that's what you manage.
You think it's two sides of the same coin?
Huh?
Do you think that's two sides of the same coin? Like, do you think you have to have qualities of managing and leadership?
Well, I think if your system intact, anybody can manage those. But I don't think everybody can lead people.
Mm-hmm. But building the system, is part of
that's what I mean. That's the part. You got to get the system built.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what the sales manager do.
Okay.
I don't think the sales manager built the system. I think the system come from the top.
In reality, the operations manager could come up with a sales management program. He could develop that, but maybe doesn't lead the team in that regard.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah.
They could have that great idea, but those are two different roles.
Mm-hmm. How do you identify, is dichotomy the right word? Like the interaction of you two, like his archetype and how they work together, and how you've broken that down, seeing like these two as leaders and how they complement each other.
So between these two, Clint
specifically Clinton Dillon.
Yeah, Clint the visionary, and then Dillon the executor. Like they both do, but Dillon the guy that's, from what I see, he the guy that's out there with the guys in the field. Like they both do it, but I done seen Dillon out there with the guys, showing them how to work the doors, on the roofs with them, doing that.
Dillon trained everybody here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gonna get out there and get the work done, show them how to, kill it in the field. Mm-hmm. And Clint the visionary. Like Clint see it big. He the inspiration. Because as you can see, we've been on the podcast, Dillon don't talk much, but when it's time to put in work, like, he gonna get it done. Like he was at the gym the other day. He was like, "Hey man, we got about like an hour left. I can meet you out there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He came in the field. We was in there 15 minutes. He was on 2 roofs.
That's right.
Training 2 people. Boom, 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 and then they closed one. So between those two, the difference, I think that's why they get along so well, and they mesh very well, because Clint got the vision, Dillon see the vision, booyah, execute on it, and then they keep progressing that way.
You know what's crazy? He's my visionary at Hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, different roles, different companies.
100%.
What kind of advice would you give them to maintain that? You know what I'm saying? Not that they're having any issues with that, but again, like just having the coaching and the company, like this is an open conversation case study.
Yep.
And so like what things can you point out about how they work together that they should work on, and then the opposite side of that coin, compound on?
Actually, one more time so I can hear.
So like the work on is coming from a deficit to an equilibrium. The compound is from an equilibrium to a greater point.
Yeah.
So what things are they doing good that they can be doing really good, and what points can they be working on? Do you know what I'm saying? Or if you guys have a question, and I'm not talking about as a company, I'm talking about partner and partner.
Partner and partner. So I can't answer that question super duper in depth because we've only connected as a company, partner and partner. I don't know the behind the scenes, but just my perspective on it. With the vision, I think you need tasks to go along with it. You know
Tasks?
Tasks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then a little bit more, I think, not amongst each other, but for their team, just a little bit more discipline. You know what I mean? So I think with Dylan being the one that's more in tune with the guys, I think he got to implement more of the discipline. And then, with Clint is like, hey, we going this spot, we going this spot, we going this spot. He creating that vision. And I just think sometimes it got to be more discipline from Dylan because he's the one that touched the guys more as far as like being in the field. And I just think from a partner perspective, dealing with the team-wise, I think that'd be super more effective.
Do you see?
And one thing they do very well is their camaraderie, the energy, the culture, the buy-in. Like these guys like ready to go behind the wall. And I say that to say this because most companies that I go see, their biggest struggle is they fear that if they hold their guys to more accountability, they'll get pushback. Like if I hold them tighter, man, they're going to push me back. And I'm like, no. They want it.
Where do you think that fear comes from? Because I know neither of them fear that, but that's because they're at such a high mind. Is that something that those roof owners want, or not roof owners, but roof companies?
Yeah.
Is that something that those management people need to fix in their own mindset, and they're putting a limit on their team?
Honestly, I think most of their fear comes from sales guys leaving them. If I hold him more accountable, he gonna go somewhere else. If I don't let him just do what he wanna do, he gonna leave me. But no, if you know anything about high-level people, they love accountability.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys ever fear salespeople leaving because you're trying to?
The culture is so good. I'm not going to say that I don't think someone would leave, but like it's so good.
What is so good?
Like everyone thinks it's a brotherhood.
The camaraderie.
You wake up, you don't think it's a job. You enjoy going out there, getting money with your friends. That's what we talk about all the time, right? But I lost my train of thought there.
Knocking doors, smashing iron.
Yeah, we support people's dreams and visions and aspirations across the board. This company is this whole job. This is a vehicle to fund your dreams.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, stay with me, don't stay with me. Like come, go, train, leave. We want to retain our guys.
Yeah.
And I kind of got a question for you with that, especially when it comes to discipline and making sure these guys are doing what we want them to be doing. I don't think they're going to leave, but do I get rid of them? Hey, this guy who's average, do I just, it's a numbers game and I take 15 average guys? Or, hey, you're not hitting this bar, see ya. And they're my friends. You know what I'm saying? So that's the hard part again.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But I do think you gotta be. So I don't think you. Only reason just from what some things I've heard. Only thing I think it would make sense to get rid of somebody is if they was dying.
If they were killing,
cancerous. Well, not even cancerous. If they was dying on your watch, like if they wasn't getting better, they wasn't going to that next level, they was thriving, and you was just keeping them here. You're doing them a disservice by keeping them here. You might as well get rid of them and let them go die on their own watch. Because then you're going to be feeling responsible. Like, man, what can I be doing more for them, man? What can I be doing this? And there ain't nothing you can do. It's just them not wanting to do more. So, yeah, some of those situations you got to let people go because it is like you don't want them to die on your watch. And you done did everything to them. You done gave them mouth to mouth. You know what I mean? Gave them the recession. You done gave them an IV. You done gave them everything. You done injected them. Like, you done gave them steroids. You gave them everything, and they still dying. yeah, man, I got to let you go. I can't let you down on my watch. I'd rather you go somewhere else and, you know, be by yourself. But you're not making no efforts. No, you're not showing me nothing that you want to live. So I can't keep you around me because all this is life. Everything around us is growing. You're the only thing that's not growing, so we gotta cut you.
I think the CPR point you made is important too. Richard, CEO of my company and also one of my greatest mentors, said no one should ever get fired without already knowing that they're going to get fired. Like you should have done as much for them to where they know that they're, you know, you should have clear cut KPIs.
Yep.
You know, you guys do the one-on-one meetings. You know, if someone's going to get fired, they should already know it's coming.
Yep.
Otherwise, you didn't help them enough or manage the right expectations.
And most people fire themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Like most people fire themselves. You don't got to fire somebody. You just got to let them go.
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they fired themselves. Like last time we was here, homie fired himself. We just let him go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Deshaun, this has been killer, man. Before we wrap up, is there anything you wish we would have asked you that we didn't?
is there anything?
You got any
that I
gems
wish-
you want to drop? Let's get
Man,
some
man,
clippables.
man.
We have hella clippable content from this
Nah,
podcast,
yeah.
dude.
I guess if it's any gym that I've been, well, we done talked about it, but I'm super like going deep on it. It's like you gotta go pro. That is my thing right now, man. Like you gotta go pro. People stay amateur too long. People stay amateur too long. So whatever that may be in your personal endeavor, whatever it is, and the biggest difference between the pros and the amateurs, man, the amateurs let their feelings tell them what to do. The pros don't care about their feelings.
Right.
Like it don't matter. When you go pro, it's just a different mindset. It's a different skills. Like you got a different level of hunger when you go pro. So I got a whole little. I wanted to teach it this weekend, but I got a whole little segment that I actually like teach on going pro, the different thought process behind the pros. Like for example, the amateur is intimidated by competition. The pro embraces competition. You know what I mean? Like an amateur, when he get new talent around him, like it bothers him. You know what I mean? A pro, like, hey, come on, I'm gonna show you how to get better. Because as you get better, we get better.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's a real pro mentality.
Rising tides lift all ships.
Exactly. You know, so you got to get to that pro mentality. For example, you know, the amateur love, he got a hierarchy mindset, an amateur, which is, you know, I perform to get recognized. That's how amateur is. I want to be celebrated. I want this. But then when you a pro, it's just like Kobe and all those guys. They perform because that's just who they are. That's the thrill. Like, they just internally want to win at a high level.
Yeah.
The trophy cool. But the thrill of going through what they went through to get there is how the pros really operate. So I think you got to go pro, man. A lot of people are amateur too long.
Dude. Go
Great.
pro.
They're amateur too long.
Man, where can people follow you?
At Roof Hustlers on Instagram, Roof Hustlers on Facebook, Roof Hustlers on YouTube, man. We try to be easy to find, man. Somebody told me that you can't have all these different things to find you on social media. Got to be even kill across the board. So we Roof Hustlers everywhere. Got new episodes coming out. Be on the lookout for the online platform. And if you want to hustle in your city, man, you hit me up. You pay the fee, and we'll come and make a difference.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Boom.
Well, dude, this was a great podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's interesting to hear how you worked with their company. I think a lot of companies can benefit. Shout out to you guys. You know, I've gotten to witness you guys build a culture, and to hear him just affirm what we all were already thinking is awesome.
I do want to
And
say something that I respect these guys being so young and then making an investment to help the people around them get better.
They know what's important.
Most people don't love their guys that much.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I tell the sales guys, I'm like, I can just hang out with Clinton Dillon all weekend and I'm good.
Yeah,
We hang out with Heston and we can have a great weekend.
Yeah.
But they brought me in for their guys to help the heartbeat of their company get stronger and get better. And I've been in the roofing industry for 6 years. I was with the same roofing company for 4 years. They never brought nobody in. They never invested enough. They never spent a dime.
Yeah.
And I done been to these guys twice in a year. And I think that's awesome that they invest that much into their people.
Yeah, a lot of people put R&D into everything except for their people.
And Grant Cardone said, you can't expect people to invest into your people if you don't invest into your people.
And I don't think you can expect your team to invest into your customers if you don't, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, invest in your team.
100%.
Emphatic, enthusiastic team members make emphatic, enthusiastic, referral-generating customers.
100%.
Well, this has been a great open case study with
Yes,
the
sir.
StormRoof System guys and Roof Hustler, the coach over here. I think a lot of companies will benefit from this. I think if there's any sales leaders out here, definitely check out Oren Clough's Flip the Script and Pitch Anything.
Please do.
Yeah, and definitely listen to this podcast once or twice. Reach out to any of the people at this table. Guys, I also want to point out the other thing I really liked was mile wide, inch deep general knowledge, mile deep, inch wide on tactical knowledge.
100%.
I think that's something very important.
Yep.
Guys, we'll be clipping a lot of this, so stay on the tune for that. You know where to follow us at HSTLUP, www.hstlup.com. We got the events coming back. We got the merch. We got everything you want to see from a brand.
Poppin'.
There we go. We back. All right, guys. Until next time, hustle up.
Hustle up.